Hello viewers, in the previous video we learnt about the elastic behavior of solids, and today we will be studying about the elastic limit, Hooke's law and the stress versus strain graph. Now if I am taking a rubber band and I am stretching it, up to a limit only it can be stretched. If forcibly I am stretching it, then at a point it will break. This is called the elastic limit, up till which we can stretch, and if I am leaving this deforming force, it regains to its original configuration. So elastic limit can be defined as the minimum value of increasing stress after which the body does not come back to its original configuration on removal of deforming force. Now suppose 10 Newton is the deforming force which I have applied and elastic limit is 15 Newton. Then what will happen? The body will regain its original configuration on the removal of deforming force. But if I am taking force equal to 15 Newton or greater than 15 Newton, let it be 16 Newton, then the body will not come back to its original state. So stress can also be defined as the maximum value of deforming force up to which the body shows the elastic behavior. Now coming to Hooke's law. Hooke's law is that within the elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to strain. Now, if we are removing this sign of proportionality, we get a constant of proportionality and it can be written as stress is equal to E strain. What is this E? E is called the modulus of elasticity. Now, what will be its unit? From this, you can see E is equal to stress upon strain. What is the unit of stress, children? Yeah, Newton per meter square, because it is force upon area. Strain is, it has no unit because it is the ratio of the similar quantities. So the unit of modulus of elasticity will be Newton per meter square. What about its SI unit? Its SI unit will be Newton per meter square only. And talking about its dimension, what will be the dimension of this stress? M L minus 1 T minus 2, and strain, because it has no unit, M0 L0 T0. So the dimension of modulus of elasticity will be M L minus 1 T minus 2. Now, there are different types of modulus of elasticity. First one is longitudinal. Second one is bulk. And third one is shear or modulus of rigidity. Longitudinal modulus of elasticity is denoted by Y, bulk modulus is denoted by B, and shear modulus is denoted by G or eta. Now, what is longitudinal modulus of elasticity? Longitudinal stress upon longitudinal strain. So this is force per unit area, and this is equal to longitudinal strain is delta L upon L. So this comes out to be F L A delta L. Again, its unit will be your Newton per meter square, and dimension will be ml minus 1 t minus 2. Now bulk modulus. What is bulk modulus? B is equal to volumetric stress upon volumetric strain. That is equal to force upon area upon delta V upon V. Now in the case of gases, we are applying perpendicular force per unit area, and that perpendicular force per unit area is your pressure. So P is equal to force upon area, we know this. So instead of F, I can write here delta P change in pressure A. So it comes out to be delta P A. You have to put the value over here upon delta V. This V will come upwards, and this delta V A. So this A and A will cancel out. So it can be written as delta P V upon delta V. Now coming to shear modulus of elasticity G. This is shear stress upon shear strain. So this is again your force per unit area, and this is your theta. You must have remembered in the previous class. If you have not seen the previous video, go and watch the part 1 of this video. So this is your delta L. We are putting the force tangentially. Tangentially, the force is being applied. This is your theta, and this is your H. So it can also be written as force per unit area upon arc upon radius. That means delta L upon H. So FHA delta L. So these are three types of modulus of elasticity. For any material now, the modulus of elasticity is fixed. For example, if I am telling you that steel has greater modulus of elasticity, that means steel is more elastic. And I'm telling that rubber has less modulus of elasticity. This means that, yes, this means that your rubber is less elastic. I hope it's clear till now. Now, we are coming to Hooke's law is over. We have seen the modulus of elasticity also. Now we are coming to stress versus strain graph. So if we plot a graph of stress versus strain, on the y-axis we take stress, and on the x-axis we take strain. This is your origin, and this is the original length. This one is the original length of the wire. Now, if suppose 1 kg weight is applied to it, there is a deformation of 1 millimeter. Another 2 kg is applied, deformation is 2 millimeter. Another case, 1 kg is applied, deformation is 3 millimeter. And on removal of all these forces, the wire comes back to its original configuration. Here it comes at O when we remove the deforming force. So if we plot a graph here, we get a linear graph. Let this point be A. So OA till OA, stress is directly proportional to strain. That is, Hooke's law is obeyed over here. Now, if a slight stress is applied, then also we see more of strain like this. So let this be B. This is not a straight line. This is a curve. This AB does not obey Hooke's law. It does not obey Hooke's law. If the deforming force is removed, yes, it comes, see, it is deformed till here, but it on removal of force, it is coming back to its original position. That means it is showing elasticity, but it does not obey Hooke's law. After B, it does not show elasticity. So B is called yield point. Yield point. Till B, elastic behavior is shown. So on increasing more of the stress, what will happen? If I take this point as C and I'm removing the deforming force, then the wire will try to come to its original position, but it does not come to its original position. There is a permanent shift over here, a permanent set over there. What happens? Here, the interaction between or the setting between the atoms has been changed. So this is the permanent set. It is not coming to its original position. It has been deformed, or it has been, you can say, elongated by a certain distance S. So at C, there is permanent set. Now, if I'm increasing more, giving more of stress, what will happen? The wire will become very thin. And at a point D, this indicates, it is the indicator of breaking stress. Because it has become very, very thin, so it breaks. Now, if I am decreasing your force, then at point E, then also it does not regain its original position or configuration, even if I am decreasing the force. So E is called the breaking point. So this is about your elastic curve. Now, if I am giving you a question over here, I'm drawing a graph here. This is one of the graph and this is another graph. Okay, this is your stress, and this is your strain. This is your strain. This is your 10 units, 2, 0, and this is your 1, 2, and so on. Now, you can see here, what will be your Young's modulus here at this position? 10 upon 1, that is 10. What will be Young's modulus over here? Your Young modulus will be 10 upon 2, that is 5. So Young modulus of this material is more than this. So which one will be more elastic, children? This first one or the second one? Yes, first one. So this is the graph for steel and this is the graph for rubber. Steel is more elastic than rubber. Now one more thing. If I'm taking these two graphs, this delta L is very long and here this is very short, clip short. So this material where delta L is very long, this is called malleable and ductile. And in this where delta L is clip short, this is brittle. This side is strain. And this one is your stress. So I hope children, now we are over, we have done the elasticity, we have done the elastic limit, Hooke's law, as well as stress strain graph. I hope it must be clear to all of you. Thank you, children.